every intro is just me laughing because of what you said just before we go
I'm
on.
not in a good mood today, okay?
Not a
Not in a
good mood.
Yeah.
Marner doesn't want to shoot the puck. I'll
Jesus.
get on that. Rossi didn't factor in. That was super annoying. And we get
His
some goals.
line mates did, though. His line mates did.
I know. All top 6 guys got points on Minnesota except Marco.
I don't get it. And Raquel, it's like I had to
6
actually check. I actually had to check the stat sheet to see if he actually played because I saw 6 goals and I'm like, where's Raquel? How come everybody he's playing with is getting points? Why isn't he on the score sheet?
It was the Anthony Beauvillier show.
Yeah, remember we chirped them yesterday? Night. Drew O'Connor and Anthony Beauvillier. They stuck it to us yesterday.
Yeah, no, there are a couple other ones. Konechny assist looking real good today. Hey to everybody there in the chat. Welcome to NHL Puck Props on covers with 14-year NHL vet Carlo Colaiacovo, presented by Sports Interaction. Hit that like button right out of the gates. Last night was just a massive day in sports. I mean, the football game, super exciting Cleveland game like that. I was on that Cleveland game. That was a ton of fun. What are the boys betting on this morning? Let us know. We got a 4-pack, I believe, today.
A lot of Utah fans in the chat. Love it.
Did you see? I don't know. Did you have? I know you had a bunch of them together, but you had the Hayton point in there? Or no.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Did you see it? They credited him later. It was a
Sergachev.
It was a Sergachev point shot that he somehow got a stick on it because he was in that same boat. You're like, Utah's pointing, but where's Hayton? I can't find Hayton. Jake Neighbors also no-show in the late game with everybody else pointing on that top line, on those top 2 lines in St. Louis, who came back to win in overtime down 4-1. Lots to talk about. Yeah. I wish I had the clip from yesterday talking about don't fade the Leafs, and then I faded the Leafs, and then
I told you, man.
Yeah, but that's kind of the way it goes.
The Leafs.
It was a game of first,
buddy. The Leafs are like a children's book. Okay. You've read it so many times, and because you've seen it so many times, that sometimes you just have to remember who they are when they walk into these situations. Like, it was so set up for the Leafs to not win that game, but ultimately find a way to win that game. Like, 3rd-string goalie playing his first ever start. Crazy.
Yeah, lots of firsts within that game. Obviously, Hildeby with his first win. Berube gets his first W. Pacioretty, Lorentz with their first goals. The Leafs are the Cowboys of the NHL. They absolutely are. It's
in every way.
Easy. All right, let's get to it. Bottom 2 lines for the Leafs. 15 total minutes versus 19 total minutes of the top 6 with Berube on the bench right now. Should we see that more balanced approach? Yes. I mean, I know we'll see it coming soon because of how the bottom 6 is played, but is that a trend we should expect to see for the entirety of the season?
Absolutely, because this is the way Craig Berube coaches his team. He knew coming into the job that the roster had talent, and that's what he was really excited about. But what he wanted to reconstruct was the way players were used on this team, because when you think about how the top 4 players in the Leafs have been used, they've been guys that have been playing over 20 minutes a night. And then sometimes when you're asked them to give a little more, they're running out of gas. And maybe that's something that catches up to them come playoff time. Who knows? But Craig Berube believes in a team type of game where you have 4 lines going, where you have guys on every line that can contribute, where you have guys on each line that create their own identity. And I know it's a small sample size, but through the preseason and through the first 2 games, we're starting to get an idea of what type of identity he's trying to build with this team. If you're going to go out and play straight line hockey, you're going to go out and be physical, you're going to go out and chip pucks in and win cycles and not turn the puck over, you're going to play. And the guys right now that are in the bottom 6 are competing, one, because there's internal competition for ice time. And there's also internal competition for, a nightly roster spot because everybody wants to play and they've created enough depth for them. So it's the dangling of the carrot, right? We're going to dangle it. Who wants to go get it? And
not a lot of teams out there giving 10 minutes a game to multiple guys on PTOs, right? No?
And no, definitely not. And credit to Steven Lorentz. He's come in and looked really, really good and really has made a name and solidified a spot for himself. There's no way you're taking that guy out of the lineup with his penalty killing ability, his checking ability, his size ability, and his ability to create chaos in the offensive zone when he starts a cycle and starts taking pucks towards the net. I mean, he is the team's leading scorer with 2 points after 2 games, but he could easily have 2 goals or maybe even 3 goals with the chances that he's been getting, or at least gotten in the first 2 games. But it's sort of something that once the top players get going, will only create a better identity for this team, because those guys are going to find a way to get their cookies and their points. But while they're not, if you can have other guys step up and do it, once it all comes together, that's the identity of a team that Craig Berube is trying to build.
Looking over the chat, your buddy Johnny Giantel wants to
Johnny,
say hello.
What's up? We should get him on here and yell and scream like you always do.
I just did Lines of Lunch with the boys on Wednesday.
Nice.
Such an awesome group of guys.
Johnny is not a fan of games not starting at 7:00. I just saw his
good. Hockey's the dumbest thing, right? Like Johnny's nailed on.
Dumbest.
Baseball, 7:03 first pitch. You get pitch 7:03, and if you don't, you get guys like
NFL 1:00 kickoff. 1:00 it kicks off.
Oh, there's nothing worse.
It's so infuriating.
It's not the NHL's fault. It's the broadcasting people, because they're like, game at 7. But like, if you go to the Leafs game, like they know, or like your ticket says, like it says like 7:25.
Yeah. Well, it is somewhat the broadcast.
But Johnny's the man. If you don't know anything about Johnny, go Gate 14 Pod.
Yeah, he's a beauty. Feel sorry for his Blue Jays.
Yeah, he's the best Blue Jay fan out there by far. I heard you and AK talking about it. A couple more points before we get to the picks. If they can find a way to get Tavares to 3C and take Holmberg, how good of a lineup does that look? And what are some possible options that they could fill in there?
Well, look, they're basically playing with what they have right now. Their experiment with William Nylander at center to start training camp was because they didn't feel confident that Tavares could be the everyday second line center iceman for this team. In an ideal world, if you had a guy that was slotted in as your second line center iceman that wasn't named Tavares as a third line center iceman could potentially be the best third line center iceman in the league, because of his offensive skill set, his hockey sense that he plays with, and the trust that he has in the coach of winning big faceoffs, being defensively responsible in the D zone, and making the smart plays offensively. But Pontus Holmberg has become a big coach favorite, not just with Craig Berube, but even going back to Sheldon Keefe, where he just does a lot of good things. And because this is the roster you're dealing with, Tavares slides in the 2-hole, and you got Holmberg centering the third line. You got David Camp, who looks
fourth-line center.
Looks like a great fourth-line center, playing with guys like Lorentz and McMahon, who they were yesterday. And
they can rotate that fourth line, man. They can bring guys in, and like you said, there's the cookie, there's the carrot dangling guys who want to get into the lineup, and now you're rotating You're rotating 3 wingers on the fourth line.
And so, like, people always want to point the finger to Keefe and say, well, Keefe didn't do this with the players and the rush he's had. I honestly don't think that Keefe had the personnel to trust guys on the third and fourth line, especially last year when they started the season. And I think that's the issue that arose with Keefe, was this guy was still trying to win hockey games. And for the longest time last year, he was waiting for the guys in the third and fourth line to step up and show that he could trust them, but they just didn't have the right guys to do it. And now I think for Berube, you kind of sense there is that trust being built with guys in those roles, because they're going out and executing a game plan that he's putting together. And so that's why you're seeing, and I compliment the Leafs for the depth that they've created. I mean, remember, there's no Dewar and there's no Yarncroc in the lineup up front. Who are those guys replacing when they come in? At
If
least
it was
right now,
Keith, if
nobody.
it was Sheldon Keefe, it would be Yarncroc taking nice spot up in the top line probably. And jumping in there, PP1.
Yeah.
Tim Powell says, I have Tavares in fantasy. Is he a drop for a better upside
No,
younger? No, he's still
no,
PP1. No. He's
still
a
PP1.
trade candidate.
I mean, again, he's still PP or he's still center 2 on this team, right? I mean, he's not playing a third. Like maybe that's eventually what he'll get to, but he scored yesterday. He's creating chances playing with Nylander and Domi. He's absolutely not a drop guy right now.
Captain Clammy Hands in the chat brings up, segues me nice to my next point. Worries within this Leafs team. 10 minor penalties, 2 power play goals allowed, 0 for 6 on the power play that I know frustrates the hell out of you because if it's broke, try to fix it. That's the other way, but they haven't. Guy Bouchard, see you later. Well, you're our scapegoat for PP1, but it still hasn't done much, especially from late last year into the playoffs and now into the beginning of the season. You were talking about a shot first mentality. Like, what do these guys have to do to get it going?
Well, they have to change their whole approach. I mean, the book is out on them. This is a power play group that has been together for a very long time with a group of 5. And they have tendencies of doing a lot of the same things that aren't really really creating success. I mean, like when you have 5 guys, when you have 4 forwards out there that all want the puck because they want to be the guys that make the play, you see a lot of passing because it's like, oh, I want to make this pass to you because I want to be nice to you. There's no selfish hockey being played on the power play. And look, sometimes the best plays in the power play are just to create havoc in front of the net because you got an extra guy to do it. And so penalty killers right now are forcing them to make 1, 2, 3 passes because they're pressuring, and they're keeping them to the outside by just boxing it up in the center because they know nobody will shoot.
Yeah. So,
and what happens is when you shoot, if the puck goes in, great. But if it doesn't go in, now you're activating yourself saying, okay, I got to go work to get that puck back. And when they go get that puck back and you got a penalty killer that chases them to get that puck back, guess what opens up? Seams. So if what I've seen so far with the power play where they're willing to split up the time on the power play between power play 1 and power play 2, well, then split up the guys on your PP1 so you have 2 units that have the same level of skill. And here's one thing that I always, that not always, but was a big factor in the successes on the power plays that I participated in. The best power play that I played on was in St. Louis. In the 2 years that I was there, I think one year we were number 1 and the other year we were number 2, is because we had special teams practices where you would have each power play unit set up in each zone and you're playing against the penalty kill units. And it was blow the whistle, 1 power play goals, you try to score, penalty kills trying to dump the puck. Once the penalty kill dumps the puck, the next power play goes and they operate in the other end zone. The power play unit that scored the most goals in that power play practice would get the honors of starting the power play the next game. And what you're doing is you're telling guys, hey, power play isn't a time to rest. It's a time to work. And you're going to get rewarded for your success based on how hard you want to compete on there. And right now, I just think they're lacking that.
Great. Guys are absolutely just teeing me up for these segues. Should we stay away from Toronto player props because of the coaching style or take chances on more bottom 6 guys? Well, first off, you won't be able to bet on any of the bottom 6 guys unless you're looking for goals, right? And maybe that's not even a bad spot. I don't know what Steven Lorentz was to score. I know Pacioretty was around 350, which is not a terrible price, but I'm not a big fan of just betting goals. But on the other side, Saturday versus Pittsburgh, we saw some offense out of them. Am I crazy to start thinking like maybe this is early in the season right now with that line going? Now's a good time to maybe hit some unders. Like if Mitch Marner's under 0.5 points plus 150, if Tavares is plus 125, if Nylander's plus 125 to not get a point, power play's not going.
Yeah.
Minutes are down. Where do you see that?
Yeah, clearly there's value there, but I mean, at some point, these guys are going to.
They're going to get going. I get it. Yeah.
Right. If anything, you might find better value on hitting these guys now because they've got a Pittsburgh team right now that's given up, 9 goals in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
And they you're probably gonna get point markets on those guys at probably a bargain, like where instead of Matthews to record a point, it's -200, maybe it's -175. I don't know.
Probably get Marner and Matthews at 1.5 points.
And we're
Maybe.
still one. Okay, well, if you're getting
And
the
then
one and a
double
half point
unders.
market, maybe their value is there, yeah, to bet the under because they haven't shown that they're ready to break out yet. But look, I mean, hockey's weird, man, because we said Pittsburgh looked like the worst team in hockey on Wednesday, and they go into
Oh,
Detroit and lay a beating, right? So, yeah, if you can find value in bottom 6 guys, you're gonna probably catch that early, but over time, it's probably not gonna be very profitable for you.
Insight's awesome, by the way. He said by Discord. I just love the nuggets that he drops.
He
Stuff
gives
that
you
you
some
can't
good
find.
insight.
Hey, hey. I said Matthews getting some empty net ice time last night. That's important to see because it's not always your top line center jumping over the boards to get it unless your
Mm.
name's Nikita Kucherov. But that is something to pay attention to, especially if you're live betting. We'll see how it goes Saturday. But let's get to today's board. Thanks for the insight on the Leafs. But I think the takeaway through 2 games, that bottom 6 is going to eat up a few more minutes than they have in the past. So that's gonna come at the expense of the top 6, I think. So slight angle might be points under, but maybe versus Pittsburgh's not the best spot with what they're giving up so far through 2 games. Tampa Bay, Carolina -135, over under sitting at 6. Oh, Gensel doesn't take long to see his old team, right? Like, I'm sure they set that one up quick. He was injured. He missed some practice. He was back at practice, I believe, yesterday. But we are going Shane Gostisbehere. Pretty sure I spelt it correctly.
No, you
That's
didn't.
what?
No.
What do you mean? No, I didn't. Don't you take that down. Don't
Oh,
you take
wait,
that
wait,
down.
on the chat? Oh, I thought you on the email. I'm looking at the email that you sent.
Yeah, that's why I had to double check. I'm like,
I
I don't think that's
still
how it's
don't
spelled.
think you spelt it right. Let me see.
Oh God, I'm gonna get in
Keep
trouble
going.
here
I'll
from Uncle
find it.
Carlo.
Keep going. I'll
Anyway,
find it.
you go check, get that gold star ready for my spelling. Shane Gostisbehere for a point. This is a great price at Sports Interaction. Plus
You
125.
spelled it
Some of the
right.
other
You
markets.
spelled it right. Good for you.
Oh, how about
Yes.
that? This is about as low as plus 110 in some spots. He's taken the PP1 spot now. He's kind of taken the Brent Burns role right over.
Mhm.
We've seen Brent Burns kind of lose a step, lose the minutes as he was. He's not a 22-minute guy anymore. But I'm going here on this spot at home. PP1, big minutes. Plus 125 is just a solid number. Daily Faceoff has Jack Roslovic on the top line right now for Carolina. PP2, Roslovic plus 135 for a point if you're looking for something else. Tampa Bay is just never anything exciting. They're kind of status quo with what they have. PP1 stays the same. Obviously, Stamkos is gone, but I know you're not a fan of Tampa. I'm more of a fan of Tampa. 135 Carolina money line at home, basically a pick 'em on neutral ice. If you had to choose a side here, where are you going, Uncle Carlo?
I'm going with Tampa
Oh,
on this one.
yeah.
Just because, again, like it's the first game of the season, right? You got 2 good teams playing. Take the value on the underdog. And like I like Carolina lost a lot of offense last year. And like, do we know who's even starting in net for them? Is it Anderson? Is it Kochekov?
I can
I
check
just
it.
think like yes, Tampa Bay has had to reconstruct their roster, especially with the subtraction of Stamkos. But really, that's the only big piece. Okay, they lost Sergachev, but they bring in McDonough. It's kind of pretty much of a wash there.
Adams
But I look
Digest already hitting McDonough block shots in game 1
there
for him.
you go. There you
Right?
go.
That's
I mean,
actually a really low number for him.
I'm looking at Carolina's second line. I mean, it's Svechnikov, Kotkaniemi, and Nekesh. Like
They're not very deep.
Kotkaniemi as your second line
Second.
center iceman.
Yeah.
That's not something to be raving about. And
Jack
I just
Roslovic is
feel
your
like
first line left winger isn't
Yeah, I
Crazy.
just feel like Tampa Bay is probably better constructed here. But again, Carolina always plays good on home ice.
Yeah.
That place is going to be rocking today because that's what they
I could
do.
go
They
out on
rock
a
like
limb
Americans.
without really looking at the facts and say that Carolina probably has the best winning percentage at home over the last, you could maybe go back 3-4
Yeah.
years, I would think.
Yeah. They rock you like a
Block shots.
hurricane.
Yeah, it's a great point from Adam bringing up McDonough, who I believe in the playoffs was at 3.5, but that's playoff hockey too, so there is a slight adjustment within that. All right, Shane Gostisbehere, that's where we are with that. Chicago, Winnipeg. I got a lot of stuff going on here. Winnipeg coming off the blanking of Edmonton, Chicago coming off the loss in Utah. That's where it was off the top of my head. Josh Morrissey. Over 0.5 asses. Minus
Wow, I
120.
like this.
This is the spot. This is where, and as I was typing it in, this is a spot where, like last year, like, is this a Morrissey assist ladder day versus Chicago, who Peter Mrazek got the first game and they play tomorrow. So Arvid Sunderblom, I believe, is playing tonight because Laurent Brossoit is still out with a knee injury.
Yeah.
Woo! I think I might have talked myself into, just because there's not a lot of action tonight, I think I might have talked myself into nibbling on Josh Morrissey 2 assists today. But I've also got a lot within this. That Velarde, Scheifele, Connor line.
Mm-hmm.
If you have the ability, I've round robin them together. So Velarde and Scheifele for a point, plus 115. Velarde and O'Connor for a point for like plus 105. And then Scheifele and O'Connor for a point for minus 120-ish. So if they score on a goal and they all get touch it, then you score all 3. You win all 3.
Wow.
That's I like that. I like this line. I like this matchup tonight. It was like how I like that St. Louis matchup for points, even though I didn't really give anything out. But that's where it is. Arvid Soderblom. Light him up. Anything to add? Chicago, Winnipeg?
Light him up. Huh?
Anything to add? Chicago, Winnipeg?
No, I just think I like everything on the Winnipeg angle here, right? I mean, maybe you could find some power play value as well, too, for Winnipeg players, because I think the statement they made on night 1 in Edmonton is they want people to remember that even though they keep losing players, they're still a really damn good hockey team. And that's a team, too, that's going to be, maybe you could find value in their bottom 6, too, on that Adam Lowry line.
Yeah.
Right? Because
go ahead.
Well, no, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, if you're out there betting anything Bedard, or we hit Tuevo in the first game, right? That cashed. I think he's down to like minus 140. But if you're going to take Tuevo for a point, guess what? Just add Bedard to it.
Yeah.
Like, he's doing all shifts there. You can get the pair
same.
for a point. The pair for a point for plus money right now.
Like, is there a market offered for a Niederreiter, Lowry, Appleton? Because they were in on 3 of their 6 goals the other night. That line.
Adams Digest saying line 2 for Utah ran over the Chicago top line. So it could be there. Like, I'd be upset if Winnipeg put up a 6-pack and the boys didn't touch. The first line boys didn't touch, but it could be that spot where Winnipeg's up big and the middle 6 are getting more minutes than the top 3, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. In terms of points, I doubt we'll get much of a market in terms of the lower guys. Oh, you can get Lowry, Adam Lowry for a point, plus 140.
Plus 140 for a point for Lowry?
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible value, because I think he does play PP2 as well, doesn't he?
And then Niederreiter
kills
plus
penalties.
130.
Wow. So let's go
now
back.
I probably got to round robin the second line too, but
let's go back to the score sheet the other night. Winnipeg, Lowry, a goal and assist. Appleton, a goal and 2 assists. Niederreiter, 2 assists.
Oh no.
And these guys are playing 16 minutes a night.
So Niederreiter's on PP2 right now, but we don't have Lowry's nowhere to be found on special teams. That's why he's priced there.
Still a good price,
there you go.
Man. This guy generates.
That's why we talk things out. Thanks to the chat. Let's go.
Yes, love it. Love
it. Philly, Vancouver. Big money on Calgary on that comeback. Rough game. Philly starts off on the West Coast. Lankinen likely for Vancouver. DeBrusk and Peterson combo is plus 135. We've seen DeBrusk. All of those are like everyone's saying, like, Josh, you're betting a bunch of overs, but you see them change on the next game because they weren't priced properly. DeBrusk was minus 115. He's like minus 140 now. Tuevo, we got it like even money. He's minus 130 now. It was important to get those early. They're changing significantly, but now we have a spot where Michkov is top line. Michkov is PP1. Do I like him for Calder? No, because our boy Stanky with a 3-pack last night was
You like
lighting it
eh?
up. I did like it. I did like it a lot. Oh, the old Stanky leg out there in Dallas. But Michkov, 3 goals, 4 assists in 4 preseason games. He's going to go. He might ruffle his coach's feathers later in the season with attitude or effort in situations like that. But right now, he's got a full leash, I think. And minus 110 after it opened at plus 110 is still a good spot. Any love from you? You're talking about the Dogs for Philly at plus 150 in this spot.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, like, Philly's going to be horned up to play this matchup. It's their first game of the season. Vancouver's got a sour taste in their mouth because of the game they lost the other night, and their defense and their goaltending could be a big talking point throughout this whole season. So there's definitely a cause for concern there. And yeah, I mean, Philly was a surprise team last year. Who's to say they can't be that this year?
James Ferguson making fun of someone. Might have been me, might have been you. I don't know. He said Connor, not O'Connor. Oh, good. I really thought
That was
his name.
probably you.
It was definitely you.
Yeah.
Plus 150 is big for such a 50-50 league, especially early in the season, especially. But there's a point. Is there any edge for a team playing their second game versus a team playing their first game?
Energy level might be the side the difference in the factor of that game, because Vancouver already had their home opener. To them, it's just another game. But for Philly, this is their season opener.
Oh, you think it's the other way? You think the opening team has the energy?
Well, yeah, because they build. Well, if you're a home team, they build off the energy of the crowd. But if you're a team that's playing your first game, everybody who plays their first game has built up energy because everyone wants to park. And especially in Philly, the John Tortorella training camp, like everyone's like, we don't want this anymore. We just want to practice and play games. So yeah, of course there's that difference.
Darren Folks hopping on late. Woo! Chinnikov, last minute. Yes. Where was it? I think what was it? A secondary assist for Chinnikov or a primary assist? I think it wasn't listed early, and then I think it came on. This game smells like the Pens and Wings game from yesterday. Talking in regards to the Philly Vancouver game. Philly at plus 150 is not a bad spot here. Lankinen. The over-under's a flat 6, too. Could be goals. Let's go. Speaking of goals, St. Louis and Vegas. Vegas minus 190. St. Louis coming off the overtime win yesterday versus San Jose. That's a weird spot. No, San Jose to Vegas? Back-to-back?
Not really. It's not that far.
This opened at 5.5, 6. I'm on the over 6. STK. That's my spelling. My spelling is on point right now. Could be STL.
You're thinking steaks. That's what you're thinking.
Early steaks. That's what I'm thinking at 10 o'clock in the morning. Over 6. We saw what the St. Louis offense can do. I love the St. Louis offense. They're probably not a fun team to coach because of it, but Rob Thomas, Jordan Kyrou, Buchnevich, and Falk, there's a lot of talent there. And you saw them erase a 4-1 deficit quickly. And we saw what Vegas in that game happened 8-4. That awesome game that I thought was going to be under that turned out to score 12 goals. I think this could be a track meet, a late night track meet. We've seen a lot of goals in the West Coast games, in the late games we've seen.
Is this the last game of their road trip? It's the third game in 4 night of their road trip.
Oh, crap. This is their third game.
This is their third game because they started
This is their
Tuesday.
third game. Seattle, San Jose, and Vegas. Isn't that brutal?
Yeah. Yeah.
No? What's that road trip like?
I don't know.
That's
I've never done it. So
No, I know you never done it, but like what's that much travel? Like it's not
I
like
don't
they
think
just did the California road trip.
well, Seattle to California, that was in an off day, and then California to Vegas, I don't think it's much, but yeah, it could take a toll on you. You know, 3 different places in 4 different days. But if Vegas is anything like we saw on opening night, I think the Blues could have their hands full here.
Ooh. Today's the 11th, and then they go for their home opener that's not until the 15th.
Who, the Blues?
Yeah, that's a lot of time.
But this is their last game on the road trip, right?
Yeah, so this is like,
Yeah.
let's get this game over with. We got the win. We got the overtime win. We got a win in Seattle. The road trip looks good.
Yeah.
Egg time.
Yeah, maybe.
And the professional athletes are obviously not going to mail it in, but like if there's a spot where you're like, hey, you might not get 110% from the boys today, might be and he says party in Vegas tonight. I didn't even think about that either. They get a full the plane's not leaving till tomorrow. They get that overtime win. Coach comes in the locker room, Carlo. Says Birds leaving on Saturday.
Yeah,
those
are the fun ones to hear. That's for sure.
Yeah, but things are looking a lot better there with the overtime win as opposed to what they are. So whatever happens in Vegas will happen in Vegas tonight. Good thing I didn't say that dumb phrase. Gostisbehere, point, plus 125. Morrissey assist, minus 120. Might sprinkle the 2. Mitchkov for a point. St. Louis, Vegas over 6. Stacking round robin with the Winnipeg first line. Lots to go on Friday. Let's leave it at that, bet. Anything to add?
No.
All right,
I think this is a nice amount of plays. It's early on, and I think you found some nice angles here with each game. So
let's go.
Let's hope it's a very profitable night going into a very thankful long weekend with Thanksgiving.
Oh, God. I'm Josh Ingles. He's Carlo Colaiacovo.
Don't stuff those turkeys. Stuff those pockets.
Oh, God. Well, this is NHL. I don't know how to finish this. So this is NHL Puck Props presented by Sports Interaction on Covers. We'll be back here next Wednesday, 10 a.m. Thanks, everybody there, Chad. Have a great holiday in Canada. Have a great weekend.
Ciao.